MeKarlin wrote on the subject, and that is that everything he wrote is not true. For example, his claim was, for example, that you have to have a king before you have a mikdash. Now, first of all, l'chatchila you do. That's how it should be. That's the normal order of things. But he said that it's not even possible to talk about building a mikdash if there's no melech. But then he runs into a problem. He himself runs into a problem. It says in the Yerushalmi Masechet Ma'aser Sheni the exact opposite. It says Zot Omeret שהמקדש, ייבנה המקדש קודם למלכות בית דוד. מסכת מעשר שני, פרק ה', הלכה ב'. says מפורש. That at least the Yerushalmi says it's possible, at least, doesn't say it has to be that way, but it says at least that it's possible that the mikdash will be built before Malchut Beit David, in other words, before there's a melech. So what does he do with that problem, which contradicts what he just said? He says, I think that it's what's written there is a misprint and it has to read differently. Well, that's very interesting, except that all the manuscripts and every single posek, every sefer that quotes the Yerushalmi, all quote it as it is. There's no reason to suspect for a moment that there's something incorrect about the Girusah. But he's forced to say that because it contradicts what he himself just came up with, an idea which is not true. Secondly, Rashi in Masechet MeKarlin also clearly says something which implies quite clearly that the Mikdash can be built before Malchut Beit David. So what does he say? I think it's a mistake. It has to read differently. So if you have, in order to I gave a shir about this. It's all recorded. You can see it. So in order to explain and maintain your shita, you have to take Rashi and Masechet MeKarlin and change the Girusah because it doesn't fit with what you're saying. And you have to take what it says in Yerushalmi in Ma'aser Sheni because it doesn't fit what you're saying. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you that there's something seriously, apparently flawed and wrong with your shita, with your assumptions. Now, I know who Rabbi David MeKarlin was. Gaon Atzum, Bavli Yerushalmi Baal Peh Mamash. Okay? When I say Mamash, I mean Mamash. But he had this idea, his idée fixe, as it's called in French. He has idée fixe in his head that there cannot be a mikdash without a king. Mashalo. And that's not true. So it's wrong. Why did Rav Tuda choose to dafka of all the achronim? 100 achronim wrote on the subject. One said that, and 99 said something else. Why did he choose that one? That's a good question. I'm not sure I can tell you. I think the answer may reside more in the realm of psychology, more in the realm of lamdanut, but at least I can't tell you. But that's the fact. Okay? So, should I take such people seriously? I'm very sorry. I'll be very honest. I do not take such people seriously. Because I know who they are. I know them by name. I've studied with some of them in that yeshiva. Some of them are my age, some of them are older than me. Doesn't matter. I know who they are. I've spoken to them. Once I had a conversation with one of these individuals who's much older, at least 15 years older than me. I remember this conversation very well. I don't remember exactly how old I was at the time, but I was probably in my early 20s. I remember where the conversation took place. It took place in the room, in the dormitory of my chavut, Rabbi Sega, with whom I learned for 10 years, because he understood, as I understood, that everything that was going on in Yeshiva was wrong, so we decided to learn together. And we were discussing something with a certain person. I won't mention his name, but he's well known. And I don't remember why we were discussing this, but we were discussing something or other, and I said to him, with regards to that particular topic, I said, this thing that you're saying is incorrect. He said, how do you know? I said, because that's not what you're basing yourself on, is not the correct Girusah. It's not the correct Girusah. The real Girusah in the Gemara is different. He says, how do you know that? I said, because it says some Diktukei Sofarim. You know what he said to me? What's Diktukei Sofarim? A person who's been studying yeshiva maybe 20 years at that point in time. How can you take seriously a person who doesn't even, I'm not even discussing the fact he didn't look it up to see what it says in Diktukei Sofarim. He doesn't even know what the book is. What does that tell you about this the whole yeshiva where he spent his last 20 years? What does that tell you about, I'm sorry to say, but what does that tell you about Rav Tzula? He didn't tell his Talmidim there's something called Diktukei Sofarim. You might want to look at it once in a while. What is Diktukei Sofarim, those who don't know? Rabbi Natan Neta Rabinovich, a Gaon Gadol, about 100 I don't know, 80 years ago or 70 years ago or something like that. He heard about the only complete manuscript of the Talmud Bavli, Kitav Yad Minchen, which was in the Munich library. He was in Germany. He got permission to spend time in that library for years, night and day. And he went over the entire Kitav Yad, line by line, and noted all the differences between the Tfus and the Kitav Yad. And he also had other Kitav Yad and other printings in front of him, and he made a whole set of books on the subject, which we have. I have them both in printed form. I have them on my computer as well. And that's an important, extremely important resource to know what's going on, who's who, what's correct, what's not correct. If you don't even know the name of the book, how can I take such a person seriously? I rest my case for now.